In the coaster industry, there are many different coaster manufacturers, but they can all be placed into one of two categories. Those categories are risk taker or perfectionist. A risk taker is a company that will try anything. No concept is too bold for them to try, and they usually have countless records. Companies like this are the backbone of progress to the industry, and innovation is in their blood. Success for these coasters isn't always guaranteed, resulting in the occasional failed prototype. But when success does occur, it is almost always breathtaking. These companies risk a lot in order to receive tremendous rewards. Obviously, the first company that comes to mind when you hear this is Intmain, whose portfolio of rides is so large that no other manufacturer even comes close. However, in this video, we're not going to be talking about Intmain, or even the risk-taker attitude in general. Instead, we're going to be talking about the exact opposite. Introducing the Perfectionist, otherwise known as B&M. Perfectionist companies like B&M do not focus on creating new coaster types as much as they continue to perfect their old ones. Like the risk taker, both of these companies end up with a fantastic product, just the way of getting there is completely different. It can be said that B&M doesn't innovate as much as Intmain, considering the fact that they haven't created a new thrill coaster type in a decade. But that is not the case, or at least it won't be for much longer. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why B&M is changing forever, and how they won't be viewed as the play it safe company for much longer. So join me as we decipher the latest news, rumors, and speculation as I explain why B&M will never be the same. But like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I post brand new videos just like this all the time, and I really appreciate all of the amazing support that this channel has been getting. But now let's get to the video. Before I jump right into this, we need to get something straight. On the surface, it may seem like B&M as a company doesn't seem to create many new coaster types, but this wasn't always the case. We cannot overlook the fact that B&M pioneered the coaster industry, with them creating many of the classic ride types which we love today. The Flyer, the Floorless, the Invert, and the Wing Coaster are all largely attributed to B&M. So to say B&M doesn't innovate is not only an understatement, but it's completely incorrect. Instead, B&M was so far ahead of their time that other companies are just now catching up to them. But with that being said, there are still several indicators that lead me to believe that B&M is changing forever, and their future will look very different than their past. In order to explain exactly what I mean, we can look at all the new coasters that B&M has added within the last 3 years, from 2018 to 2020. Within those 3 years, they've added quite a lot of coasters, but there's one coaster that has been added way more than the others. They've been focusing on a coaster which is shaping the future of B&M, and that is their Wing Coaster. The Wing Coaster is B&M's latest thrill coaster, and it is becoming increasingly popular. One factor that contributes to its popularity is its versatility. The model itself is incredibly versatile, with it being the only B&M coaster to feature an LSM launch. On top of that, the Wing Coaster is one of only a few B&M coasters which have the ability to face riders in a backwards position. Besides that, the coaster is actually one of B&M's cheaper models, which leads smaller parks to be able to afford it. I kind of say this sarcastically because even a cheaper B&M is extremely expensive, but it technically is cheaper than other models. So what am I getting to? Well, the B&M Wing Coaster is actually taking B&M out of their comfort zone, leading the company to try things which they would have never tried before. Turning the seats backwards may not seem like that big of a deal, but for a company like B&M, it will have lasting implications. It almost seems like the Wing Coaster is B&M's test model to try new things on. Hence the reason it was their first LSM launch coaster, first backwards inverting coaster, and now B&M's first shuttle coaster and multi-launch coaster. If you haven't recently heard in the coaster community, there has been huge news regarding one of B&M's possible future projects. Only a couple of weeks ago, it was leaked that B&M is possibly building a multi-launched wing inverting shuttle coaster for Chessington World of Adventures in the UK. Concept art was revealed that heavily depicted a B&M Wing Coaster, which features a swing launch, a zero G-roll, and tons of theming. This is a huge deal. This is B&M's first time trying a multi-launch coaster, as well as a shuttle coaster in general, and if it's successful, who knows what the future could hold. So if this coaster is indeed by B&M, we now have actual proof that B&M is indeed going to be a huge competitor in the launch coaster market. For B&M to add a swing launch on their only second ever LSM launch coaster shows us that they are extremely confident in their launches, which likely means that they will keep utilizing them in the future, such as projects like the surf coaster. So B&M is changing, and they are starting to take more chances regarding their new coaster types and elements. In truth, we haven't really seen a new B&M thrill coaster in over 10 years, which leads me to believe that we will not just see one but many new thrill coaster types come in the future. After the pandemic, parks are going to be very hesitant to pay the pricey amount for a new large-scale B&M. So B&M, like all other companies, are going to be forced to adapt. Creating a shuttle coaster is much cheaper than a full circuit coaster, so by creating a more affordable ride, B&M is going to attract new potential buyers. B&M is a company that keeps incredibly quiet when it comes to future developments. However, that doesn't mean they haven't been working on other projects behind closed doors. Take the surf coaster for example. We just learned about the surf coaster in early 2020, but the company was likely working on it for many years prior, and we still don't know everything about it. So all I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't be surprised if B&M unveils many new coaster types very soon. And believe me, this will be a deliberate decision. Like I previously mentioned, the pandemic pretty much destroyed the entire amusement industry, and parks outside of Disney and Universal aren't spending as much as they used to on new attractions. As a result of this, we see many new companies focusing on smaller, more compact rides. Recently, Intmain announced a variation of their multi-launch coaster, which looks to be smaller clonable rides that still pack a punch. This is fitting with the theme of affordability. If you think about it, B&M doesn't really have many customers left in the United States for the time being. They do not work with Six Flags, SeaWorld is going crazy right now, and a new B&M at a Cedar Fair park doesn't really seem plausible. That pretty much only leaves 3 parks left in the United States that could possibly receive a new B&M in the future. That leaves Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, and Hershey Park. This means that within the next 5 years, there's a chance that we would only see 1 or maybe 2 new B&Ms in the United States. B&M's footprint in the US is slowly decreasing, and because the whole world was affected by the pandemic, they need a long-term solution, instead of just relying on the Asian coaster market. To be frank, some of B&M's coasters are just way too expensive to survive. $22 million for a coaster like Thunderbird is way too pricey to sell in a post-COVID market, so B&M has 2 options, either making the coasters cheaper or better. And here's what I mean. $22 million for a wing coaster is normally easy to justify because you get what you pay for, and that is quality. But when parks are struggling for money, it's going to be very hard to sell. B&M could lower the price of their coasters, but obviously that results in much lower profit. Instead, they could create a new unique coaster type like Mack did with the Extreme Spinner or S&S did with the Axis. And all the capital used in R&D will be justified when parks jump at the chance to have the latest B&M. Parks will be much more likely to fork over large amounts of capital if they think that they can receive a return on investment rather quickly, and B&M definitely knows this. You may think that I'm crazy, but I believe that B&M is already doing this. We can clearly see it with the surf coaster. I mean, just look at how much hype the surf coaster created even though we don't know that much information about it. So my far out crazy prediction is this. Within the next 3.5 years, B&M would have announced a total of 3 brand new never before seen coaster types, including the surf coaster and 2 others. These coasters will be of B&M quality and live up to the B&M reputation, which means that they will be extremely reliable and have a great reputation in general. Every new thrill coaster type that B&M has ever made has been incredibly well received, and these new coaster types that they're going to create will perform the exact same way. However, only time will tell what the future of B&M really looks like, and that's just my speculation. So to conclude, I do believe B&M is changing forever, and they won't be viewed as the play it safe company for much longer. I think the future of B&M holds innovation, where B&M creates and perfects new coaster types. Just as the wing coaster, inverted coaster, and the flying coaster are all staples of the amusement industry, a new thrill coaster category by B&M will be the same. So we can look forward to great things from B&M, and in 5 years from now, I believe the coaster industry will look very, very different. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see content just like this all the time. And comment below your thoughts about B&M. What do you think the future will look like for the company? This is the Coaster Josh, signing out.